I'm Brent Leary.
Paul Greenberg.
We are the CRM Playaz, and I'll tell you what, I'm glad I have two machines because it never fails. One is still saying not live, and then the other one shows up live. So
Thank God for that. We're right now. It says here we've been live for 20 seconds.
yeah, once it goes live, it does this catch up thing. But
uses ketchup, mustard.
All right, folks, this is the kind of show it's going to be today, man.
I'm afraid so.
A little hot doggish, but we are the CRM Playaz, and guess what? We've been bringing the as since 2009.
Yes, we have. Whatever the as is, we have brought it.
Yeah, we need to find out exactly what we've been bringing since 2009.
I don't know. Hank Azaria? Did we bring him on trips with us?
Boy, is it really going to be a bad one here today, folks. Have you been saving up all these?
Well, I'm not. I would have used them at the analyst summits, but I'm not there.
Oh,
hey, woo!
And you were.
I need to hear from you today.
You've been sorely missed over the last 2 weeks.
People are in literal pain.
Yes, because they were, because you weren't there. They were in literal pain.
Couldn't hug the pain out of them.
Oh man, everybody's asking about you. Everybody is wondering where you are, and then I have to keep repeating myself. I say, well, officially he has finished his analyst duties in events as of, was it user testing the last one, or was it Zoom?
Yeah,
I can't remember which one.
Yeah, it was user testing was the last one.
All right. I told him, yeah, he's officially done. The only time you'll see him is at a PPN engagement of sorts.
Yeah, I hope they all hear that regularly.
I tell you who didn't believe me when I told him that.
Who?
Shritter Vimbu. He said, I don't believe it. I'll believe it until I see him. I won't see him on a couple of the next ones. I'm like, oh,
well, here's the way I look at it. Okay, Shritter, then I don't believe you're a chief scientist. You show me the research that you've completed.
Ooh. All right, before we get into that, let's say hello from Helsinki.
Hey, Tony.
Tony Keskinen.
It was great having you at the event. And by the way, you did a really good job at the great debate conversation, too.
Yeah.
The person who came up on stage. You did wonderfully.
And you know how difficult it must have been to get a word in between Vinny and Mike Foster?
But Tony did it, man.
He did. It is really good to see him. He's a really good guy. And guess what, Tony? It's 70 degrees here in Atlanta right now.
Yeah, we're at like 38, I think.
Yeah.
Why is it so warm there?
I don't know, but as soon as Tony left and took his Helsinki weather with him,
it took Finland back with him.
Him and Heather Willems, all these cold weather folks, once they left, we went back to normal. By the way, LinkedIn user, we don't know who you are, but we're staying for Colin Fleming too.
Wait a minute. The show's over already?
Came here
to play stage for Colin Fleming. Show's over.
Oh, well, he's staying, or he or she. Let us know who you are. We don't know who you are.
No, we don't have a clue. LinkedIn user, put your name in your thing. This JR.
Why is he saying sorry, Brett?
Unless he's LinkedIn user also.
But he's showing up as JR Clarkton.
I don't know. You know him, man. He's working it.
Ben Becker, good to see Ben a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
You know who we should have saw a couple weeks ago? Cynthia Hoyos.
I know, the best.
Yes, we saw Jesus. I saw Jesus. He was at the Zoho event, and absolutely. Oh, Jeff Rosenthal. Okay, that's our friend over at Monday.
Wait, what's Jeff Rosenthal?
I think LinkedIn user.
Oh, LinkedIn user is Jeff Rosenthal?
I think so. That's what
lost in the conversation. It's going like 200 directions.
Yeah. Well, look now. Look at JR with the all official
Woodbridge. Hoodbridge.
He lives in the hood.
No, he lives in Woodbridge.
Oh, I like Hoodbridge better. That sounds.
No, he does too. Obviously,
sounds a little challenging. Who is that?
Jeff Rosenthal.
Oh, that's who she.
I assume she means that.
Yeah.
Or him.
You know who we were missing though?
Yes, I do.
What is going on? Oh, wait a minute. I spoke too soon. And now we have.
There he is. Oh, this is good.
The moment is
This one
spent.
is Gaelic.
It's Gaelic.
Yeah,
That doesn't
Gaelic.
even look like. I know math.
It's kind of Irish-ish.
Feesgar.
Gaelic Irish.
That's deep. Yeah. All right. So you're going with Gaelic.
Yeah, I am.
Are you sure it's not garlic? Yeah, that's not good.
I'm never sure it's not garlic.
All right. Well,
Everybody-
Sven, let us know if the Venerable Paul Greenberg is correct. And in the meantime, yes, LinkedIn user is Jeff
Oh,
Rosenthal.
hey, Jeff.
Glad to have you with us. And look who else is here.
Oh,
Jeff McDonald.
another Jeff. Different spelling though. How you doing, man? Not shocking that he's here though.
It really isn't. We're glad to have him here anyway.
Gaelic.
Oh yeah, so you're a Gaelic Scottish.
Yeah,
You said
Scottish.
Gaelic Irish, so
Well, I said Gaelic or Irish, but Gaelic's which is what I went with.
okay.
But Gaelic is. Wait a minute. So there's a Scottish version of Gaelic that's different than the Irish version of Gaelic.
I guess
Oh,
so.
see now, Sven, you got me completely intrigued, and I'm going to have to look this up. Hey, co-pilot. No,
Oh no,
but that doesn't work that way. I forgot.
Anyway.
I'm getting more and more disappointed in Copilot as the source Gen AI. I really am. So I hate to say it, Microsoft, sponsor of Stump the Godfather.
I think that's why you really are, because they. Anyway,
I'm trying to drive them away.
Anyway, I'm glad to be back. I mean, I literally just got back from Zoho Day in Austin. It was great. It's always great to see the gang, all the folks. Well, and all the gang is asking for you. They're always like, is he coming? What's going on? And I have to tell them, I'm like the bearer of bad news, man. I mean, kind of have to tell them all this.
You want me to put out a general public service announcement?
A PSA?
I will not be at any of the conferences. Leave Brent alone.
It's like, where is he? I thought they're gonna come with like pitchforks and tiki tortures.
Alone, man.
I'm just the messenger, folks. Don't harm the messenger. Yeah. But I mean, people really are missing you. A matter of fact,
you know what? I honestly, I have to admit, it felt so weird not being at either Sugar and especially not Zoho. I mean, really, Zoho was hard to say no to. I almost caved on that one.
You said Zono?
Oh, so it is. Okay, so there is an Irish and Scottish Gaelic. Okay.
So you got it wrong then.
I was right about Gaelic, wrong about which one. I didn't even know there were two different ones. See, that's fascinating to me. I did not understand. I did not know that.
And that's why we need Sven every week.
Yes, we do. Sven, we need you. We need you, Sven. We need the moment of Sven and you, Sven, to provide us with that moment. And next year at IRL 2026, we need you there to do it on stage.
Wait a minute. Did you just
No, that was deliberate. That was like a deliberate leak. It was right. Yeah, I just felt like leaking it.
So you might as well like reiterate that just in case anybody missed that.
Yeah, in case you missed it. Let's say the reviews were so good.
How good were they? Oh, sorry.
They were so good that you could fry an egg on the sidewalk, right? Somehow that was tied to that.
That's good.
I don't know. That used to be the part. It was something was so hot, you could fry an egg on the sidewalk. I think that was how it went.
Yeah. Hi, Eva.
Ava. Spoiler is right. I am spoiling it. So it went so well that we are going to do IRL 2026, and we know this. 1, it will be in Atlanta. 2, it will be we'll start planning instead of like a week and a half out. We'll start planning about 8 months out on this one. 3, it will be invitation only. 4, we will try some new things that we didn't try this time.
And we will retry some things too.
Yes, we will we will absolutely redo some of the things some of the things that succeeded and some of the things that didn't go quite as well, but are still worth redoing. We're going to do that. And 6, we will want much more engagement and feedback from all of those of you who did attend. And I've already been gathering that. I got a bunch of feedback on the happy hour yesterday from people on suggestions and things we could do better, things we didn't do that we might want to do, things like that. And we're looking for feedback from everybody who's hearing this today and anyone else you can think of who might be there to provide feedback. We want, so we can take that into account. And finally, there will be alcoholic and food let's say,
you mean alcohol, not
well,
alcoholic.
alcohol and food
Yeah.
in the welcome reception, but it'll be done differently. That's all I'll say. I think. Can you think of anything else?
Not at the moment because I'm still getting off the plane. I think I'm halfway off the plane. But
all right. Yep. You want someone to meet you at the gate?
Yeah. By the way, sorry that you brought a bug back with you from Atlanta there, Tony. I hope you're feeling
Not the
better.
only one. Unfortunately, there were 5 different people I know who were sick from that. I don't know if it's from the conference, probably from Atlanta's emergency policies.
All right, Sven. Well, that would be my recommendation.
You know what?
I want to have a RAM executive, or I want Eric Dickerson on the stage.
Yeah, that one might be out of the question, but the other one maybe not.
All right. So, and we are trying our best to get some of the content out from that. There's a couple of issues we're trying to work through. Hopefully we'll be able to work.
Yeah, we'll be able to give you a report sometime next week. Oh, and then during next week's show, we'll give you a report on where we stand with it. As soon as it's viable, we'll start coming out with it. And for those of you who actually requested specific content, as soon as it's viable, we will get that to you. There's only a couple of you, but we will get that to you.
Yeah, I think there might be more than a couple.
Yeah, no, I mean 2 specific people who asked for like the full length of something.
Oh yeah, I got hit up on some things. I mean, because there's a lot of good stuff. I mean,
it really was, and it was, you know, and it was such a nice, pleasantly. Combing it. What does that even mean?
I don't know. I just saw 106th birthday.
I'm gonna have lunch with him on my 135th birthday next week.
Are you counting your age in like dog and cat years or something?
Oh, then I would be about 11. Right. So, and dog and cat years don't equate, even though the people would tell you otherwise.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, we'll get back to you on some of that, but absolutely.
Oh, and that was the other thing. It will not be in January. That was the thing.
Yeah, I mean, if it's gonna snow 8 inches in New Orleans in January, I mean, we can't. There's not much we can do about that now.
No, but somebody, I think Anand brought up the fact that is the World Cup being in Atlanta next year?
Might be. I don't know.
Yeah, the way he was talking about it was as if it was, so it won't be then either.
Well, you know, Anand is the unofficial mayor of Atlanta, or at least the Atlanta Tech Village. So
he certainly is. It's amazing, that guy.
Yeah, but be on the lookout. We're actually going to do this 4-letter word thing. Plan.
Yes.
A little bit.
Yeah, and we will be talking about that as we go along, because we're gonna, again, we want to inputs, feedback, engagement with us on this thing. We want you to work with us. Really, we need help. Okay, so
generally speaking, we need help.
Yeah, that kind of help we need professionals for. They can help cure us.
Yeah. Anyway, what happened on the happy hour yesterday? I missed it.
It was small because a lot of the people were actually at the Zoho Summit.
That's right.
But what we talked about was just feedback. We made it kind of a working session, really, feedback from the conference because we hadn't had the opportunity to do it. And, you know, and I also filled some people in on some of the things they hadn't heard yet. And it was really good feedback. I actually have I have a notebook I'm keeping where I'm taking all the feedback, and I had like 13 or 14 different items, which were range from things to improve or things to, let's say, pay more attention to brand new things we hadn't tried yet, both from the I'd say from the, at least session one here, from the media side than the content side. You're like, try this thing, see how that may work. And there was one suggestion which I really liked, although I don't know if it's doable. I won't say what it is just because it's very specific, but it has to do with using a different platform. And if the platform that was actually suggested, which is not one you would think of, would actually be, if it can handle the scope, would be incredibly good to do. And I'll tell you about it after the show, but it's not a bad idea at all.
I'm in suspense, or as one of my buddies used to say, suspenders.
Look at the private chat, and I'll put it in there for you.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's cool.
Sorry, everybody. This is one that we are not transparent.
Right. Anyway, so we have a guest who we've had the fortune of talking with over the years, and the last time we talked with him, he was literally on like day 1 or 2 of his brand new job, and it was a big brand new job. Look at Ben. This ain't Stump the Godfather, Ben. It wasn't
no, God, no.
In SharePoint? No.
Maybe 15 years ago we might have tried it.
Wait a minute. Is Lotus Notes available?
It actually is. People still use it.
Oh my God, it's really still out there.
Yeah. Take a look in the private chat. You'll see it.
I'm not surprised because of you've made that plea numerous times about the company.
Yeah.
Of course, Alan.
That's a given.
Of course.
I'll say this: almost everyone who helped us is a given coming back.
Who? Yeah, I
almost everyone who helped us is a given coming back.
Almost. Yeah. I mean, look, those folks, everybody were great.
They were wonderful.
Yeah. So
look at Jeff McDonald.
Netscape. Oh my God. Jesus. Yeah, I think you might have gone a bit too far back there, Jeff.
Yeah, I think we're gonna use what do they use? I can't remember what they used to call those things.
What?
When you would, it was like the earliest,
like a bulletin board.
That's what I was looking at. It could be on bulletin board. That's exactly what I was looking for. A bulletin board.
Oh my God!
We're gonna have it on a bulletin board.
Yeah, that's progress.
Yeah, it'll be papyrus. We're gonna do it on papyrus.
We're really going back now.
Yeah.
So anyway, just I mentioned I was at Zoho Day. It was really a great every year. And its credit is due to our friend Sandy Lowe. Every year, I was sitting there amongst they split it, so this is just enterprise focused. Remember back, up until this year, it was everything. It was small businesses and enterprise, and this was just enterprise now, and it was well over 100 and some odd analysts there.
Wow!
And I remember the first one. It was like me, you.
That's what it was in 2018. It was me and you.
It was like 13 people in there, and I was just looking around. I was like, my God! And we're at this really gorgeous Horseshoe Bay resort, about an hour outside of Austin. Like I said, 100 plus folks. And let me tell you how good it is, to work with the folks at Zoho. I was all set to do a few good minutes I was doing one with Schroeder, one with Tony, two of the co-founders of Zoho. And I was like excited because, I always like to talk to them, but this venue is right on this man-made bay, and it was gorgeous. So I was like, oh man, I'm scoping out all these really cool places I can set my little my Pocket 3 up and have these great background as I'm going to talk to these guys. And guess what?
They already had it set up for you.
No.
What?
I forgot my camera.
Oh my God.
I know. It was pretty brutal. But
When does that happen?
But because Zoho had these like studios set up with not only just camera equipment, but an actual person, so they're like, don't worry about it. We'll just schedule it. Then now you'll be able to use that. And so, how many of these analyst events have we gone to where that would have happened, where they actually have things for us to that their own camera pieces of equipment and people to help you do that?
The only one I can think of is besides Zoho, and there's only one I can think of, which is Oracle. That's it.
Yeah, that would be it. But
Yeah.
it was probably a little easier to get scheduled.
Yeah, well, Oracle scheduled you. You didn't get scheduled. If you know what I mean, right?
Right. But it was, I mean, and that's please, that's a note to all folks doing these analyst events. Everybody now, I mean, remember when we first started, nobody was really doing all that. But now all analysts, because we want to do our own conversations and be able to record them and then slice them and dice them afterwards. It might help if you have some video functionality capability set up so that we can have those conversations and put them out on social and get lots of attention for your executives, for your partners, and for your customers, because that's who we're talking to with these things. So kudos to Zoho for really I'm saying they're leaders in that when it comes to really doing that kind of stuff.
Well, I mean, they actually pay attention to what people need, not what they think they need, right? They don't, and again, I'm not saying others don't. I'm just saying Zoho just does it better than anyone else. So look, it's why their AR program won best AR for GFA. Sandy won most respected AR person for the GFAs. So there's reasons for that.
One other thing they did that I don't think I've seen anywhere else, as part of the agenda, usually you have the company executives do their thing, and then they'll have somebody from the company interview customers, kind of the customer story thing. They experiment a little bit. They actually had, for example, John Reed led a discussion with Zoho executives in which they clearly it was unscripted. They did not have a direct idea of what he was going to ask them. And it was great. People loved that. I mean, because he got the audience involved. They were getting Q&As from. It was really great to see a vendor not be afraid of us,
right,
and allow that honest give and take, without fearing, the worst. And Liz Miller led a conversation with one of the customers. There's a couple other of those kind of things. I just love that idea, and they were experimenting, and I hope they do it more because I think it worked out great.
You know what? The other thing I've always loved about them is they're never, and this is general, even well beyond the analyst stuff, is they're not afraid to take chances.
Yeah, and I got a chance to speak to our buddy Raju, and he's like, "Look, we're always going to experiment, and we know things might not work out exactly the way we think they are, but we're okay with that, and we'll learn from that, and we'll move on from that." I wish more vendors would have that kind of.
They're experimenting with ancient grains to try to find a sustainable grain for the world, right? So, and most of those grains are not going to work out, but one of them may.
Yeah, that it only takes that one good grain.
That's right, one good grain, one good grain, man. And that's what I'm saying. They also willing to put people in places that they're not expecting to be in. I mean, look at that story Sridhar told me years ago about this senior software engineer there, a young woman, and he was talking to her and he said, "What are your degrees in?" And she said, "Oh, well, I have a degree in, I think it was agriculture and my microbiology or something like that." And he said, "Oh, you know what?" And she said, "And that's my true love." And she said, "Oh, you know what? Well, we have this farm. I'll tell you what, as his own employee, once you head it up, we'll do all the things we need to do to give you what you need to do it. And that way you'll live out your dream, basically, on the one hand, and on the other hand, will help us, and you're still going to be employed by Zoho." That's what I mean. Take a chance on it. a person who's a senior software engineer, right, who ends up the head of an agricultural complex, right? So,
yeah, that's interesting. By the way, I guess I got to get some of these
I'm
comments
noticing
in.
where we're going.
Yeah, so the people are still going over the old technology. TikTok is the place to be for us very old people. The young people might not agree with that.
Okay.
Jeff McDonald, yeah, Netscape Gold. Netscape
Absolutely.
Gold. All right, Jeff is really searching here.
Aluminum
Aluminum
can
can on a string. Sven is
Kudos.
wow, that's really and now look at Alan. Usenet News.
That's actually the other one. I actually used to literally use those to recruit people.
You know what?
It's and really they were cool. Lotus Notes people.
Lotus Notes, okay.
That's how old that is.
It all goes back to Lotus Notes, but you know what else it goes back to?
Lotus Notes.
And now it's time for Stump the Godfather with the venerable Paul Greenberg. Brought to you by Microsoft Dynamics 365 Copilot.
All right, we're going to make this a quick one.
Yeah, really.
Because our guest is in the green room. I could see him. Oh, he's giving me the... Yeah, we're good. All right, so... And I hope I didn't screw this up. Why is it? I
hope you did.
I hope I did. All right.
I really hope you did.
This
and
week,
the answer is 12. Okay.
This week's Stump the Godfather brought to you by Microsoft Dynamics 365 Copilot. Okay, good. I didn't mess it up. Gartner predicts within 4 years, at least blankety blank percent of day-to-day work decisions will be made autonomously through agentic AI, up from basically 0% in 2024. So in 4 years' time, how many day-to-day work decisions percentage-wise will be made autonomously?
All right, everybody, you guys guess.
Everybody get your guess
My
in.
answer is very simple. I don't care. There's my answer.
Okay. All right, and our guests in the green room, feel free to put your guests in the private chat, and we'll let folks know. Yes, Monique, it is.
Oh, thanks, Monique.
Really?
My former friend Monique. Yay.
For a minute there, I thought she said stomp. I was like, that wouldn't be good.
That's my former friend Monique.
All right. Our guest in the green room. Ooh, wow. Our guest in the green room is going big. 50%.
That's really big.
That's pretty big. Anybody else please throw your guess in before we let the venerable Paul Greenberg take his guess. Monique, Alan, Phil, Sven, Jeff, Ben, everybody else. Get your guesses in so we can.
Varun, I'll keep going. Yeah.
Yeah.
The other Jeff.
Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, Mike. Wait a minute. Right. That's new edition.
Ricky Bobby.
Wow, everybody got all right. Here we go. Cynthia. Oh, Cynthia is one upping. I was going to say. All right. All right. Cynthia is saying 55%. Michael Klein is saying, what is this? Price is Right again?
No, he's Yankee. He's Yankee uniform.
Oh, Ron Guidry. J.R. Clark is saying 38%. Monique is saying, wow, 60%. Ooh. Jeff McDonald is going with 35%. Tony is saying 55%. Wow. Phil Bruni, 61%.
Well,
all right, we got a lot of guesses in. So
that's the Price is Right one.
There's a lot of price.
1 cent up, 1% up on Monique.
In honor of Bob Barker or anything? All right, so the venerable Paul Greenberg, your guess is?
I'm going exactly with Jeff McDonald at 35.
All right, 35. Ben is sneaking 10%. Okay, Ben is sneaking in. All right, that's a lot of guesses. The real answer to this, 37. All right, wow. Wait a minute. Did Sven already guess, or was that a new? Okay, that was.
Yeah, he had guessed. Kudos.
All right. The answer to this week's Stump the Godfather question. We never get a drum roll. We need a drum roll for this.
Well,
all right, here we go.
No, we don't.
Here we go.
We need to get this over with.
You guys are way off base. 15%. You guys are really going agentic crazy.
Nah, it's just I don't really care.
Well, you yeah, but 61%. It's like almost no humans will be left to make decisions now,
Well, I think that, the problem is I know how my head and probably everyone else's head interprets that day-to-day work decisions being simple tasks as opposed to anything more complicated than that.
Yeah.
So it's basically not even autonomous. It's more automatic, if you know what I mean. thinking more along those lines, which is why the percentages would be pretty high. This is a whole different level.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, our guest is saying we're going to blow that number out. That's what he's saying. By the way, you know what? You usually do the introduction, but I got a kind of a special introduction. If you,
all right, I know what it's going to be. It'll be video.
Oh, how did you know that?
Why? Just how do I not know?
Oh my God! Well, I guess that's pretty obvious.
Good enough for me.
All right. So the last time that we had our guest on, I guess we could say his name now. It's Colin Fleming.
Yes.
He
CMO
was CMO of Service. He was literally like at the ServiceNow Knowledge 24 is like his first couple of days. I think they were actually just introducing him at the time, right?
The only way we knew he was at ServiceNow is that he was accidentally on an invite list.
That's right.
To be on.
I forgot that
we
part
saw it and we went, "What?"
That's right. So we literally were looking for him at the event because we knew from that email that he was there, right? And we literally just caught him a couple of minutes as he was really gracious because we have had the opportunity to speak with him in his previous job, right? And remember, he his previous job, he was at Salesforce, and he Salesforce Plus and all that. Remember, he got us the tour of the studio.
Yeah.
And we got a chance to hang out there. He wasn't there. He was out doing real stuff, but he let us come in and check it out. So
was awesome.
That was just awesome. So we had been having these conversations with him for years, and the first time we met him physically was at ServiceNow at Knowledge 24.
His very first day of work was a Monday. Remember?
It was a Monday. It was a Monday. It was partly cloudy. No, I'm just
and we were in that thing with Bill McDermott, and he was in the back of the room.
That's right. So, and he let's face it, it was like he was a bit shell shocked because there was a lot coming at him at the time.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
So we were like, hey, once you get your feet, settled in, we'd love to have you come back and talk about what's going on and all that. So he went from like kind of being a little shell shocked because there was a lot going on to, well, let me just say to this. I'm gonna put up a recent post that he put up on LinkedIn. Let me show you this. And it's like posing a really interesting question. Is an F-bomb appropriate in B2B marketing? I don't know, but we're about to find out.
Ask Bob Stutz.
So this is what he meant by we're about to find out.
You're restoring my access to the HR portal, right? Compliance reports due and I need that access ASAP.
Nope. But my new agents are on it.
It's business critical. Wait, what new agents? I haven't onboarded anyone new.
No, ServiceNow AI agents. Your ticket triggered a whole fleet of them. They handle high volume tasks, so I can focus on the bigger stuff. The stuff that fulfills me.
I want to focus on the bigger stuff too.
All right, well, one AI agent is pulling logs from the HRIS now, while another is monitoring Active Directory sync errors in real time.
So AI agents are like personal minions?
Sure, if personal minions were pumped about resolving data errors.
Are they?
They are.
Yeah. So he went from being a little shell shocked to dropping F-bombs in commercials.
That was pretty good.
That was pretty. Matter of fact, a couple of people we know thought it was actually pretty good too.
There you go.
Brian Solis, our buddy, our keynote speaker at IRL 2025, by the way. This is so effing good. So I guess that means it really is good. And I'm here for the F-bomb. I think he's on to something here, So with all that said, now I'll let you do the official introduction.
Bring him on, man.
All right, let's do it.
There's no reason to. We just saw what this guy can do.
Let's bring on Colin F. Fleming.
Good to see you guys. It's quite the long-winded introduction.
Hey, you set it up. Thanks for putting the post up because I literally saw that once I landed about 2 hours ago. And I was like,
I haven't seen that yet. But then again, I'm retired. So
Well, excited to be here, guys. It's been 9 months. Last time we connected was literally on day one, so it's I have a little bit more knowledge now about the company, which is a lot of fun.
So you happy? You enjoying yourself? Life?
I love it. I love it. Yes, I pinch myself daily. I mean, there's plenty to do, but it's a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it.
Can you explain this picture?
Oh my man,
that's my friend Idris. Yeah,
I love that
Idris
guy.
has been amazing. Idris is our brand ambassador, and I can't take credit for picking him. That was all in place as I was walking in the door. But he's been nothing but a breath of fresh air and an incredible brand ambassador. Couldn't ask for anybody better.
I'll tell you what, he's like one of my favorite actors. Period. I just love almost everything he's in.
Yeah.
So. You got a winner there.
Yeah, I think of him as Stringer Bell, but then my favorite is John Luther. I love that show. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Oh, he was amazing. That was like genius in that show. So I saw this thing the other day, which can't quite figure out. It was about some person. I don't even know who the person was who wrote it, but it was something about ServiceNow and Salesforce now competing in the CRM market, and it was ServiceNow's got CRM, and then when I read the article, all it described really was the Customer Engagement Center, Gartner,
sure,
your Magic Quadrant leader ranking. But I was trying to figure out because look, I mean, with CRM for me that means sales, that means marketing, things like that.
Sure. Yeah.
So how you are you? I mean, I've always seen signs that you might be, but I'm not sure. I know one thing you are doing really well, even though you don't market it at all anymore deliberately. Platform of platforms, that thing. Yeah. You guys are really doing a good job there.
Thank you. Yeah. Look, I think one of the things that I've been sort of trying to drive forward inside the company is just simplifying the language and speaking the language of the customer. The company has been an incredible growth story and has such incredible ambition and momentum. But we're probably guilty of using one too many acronyms and a few things that maybe inside baseball that doesn't really resonate with the external. And so, there's a part of our business. It is the fastest growing part of our business. We hold a small percentage of market share in CRM, but we were calling it customer workflows. And, that may have sounded good inside the organization, but the industry and our customers call it CRM. And, we are absolutely a leader in, CRM, and CRM, of course, has different definitions of it. But even the company you mentioned started out as a Salesforce automation solution. So, look, we are in CRM. We are a ankle biter at best, but we have an incredible momentum with our product, super unique differentiation. And we made the call to just say, we are absolutely in CRM. Why not?
Okay. I mean, from my standpoint, honestly, I've always thought, when I started working with ServiceNow as an advisor, it was the early days of CSM, which became, of course, customer workflows, which honestly, I never loved the name either, particularly customer workflows. Is not, I mean, it's not that it's untrue. It's just not very appealing. But customer service manager was probably a better term even back then. But I've never seen the sales or marketing component, but I think look, I've always defined you, and I still do, as the world's largest unicorn, basically. And you still are. You're still like remarkable growth, an amazing company. I will tell you something anecdotal. Used to be many years ago when a lot of executives come to us, and ask, oh, well, I want to move. I want to go somewhere else. And I always ask the same question of every single one who's ever approached me, which is, okay, ideally, where would you like to work? And it used to be Salesforce. Now it's ServiceNow. And it's fairly commonly that. So, and you just hired a good friend of mine, Casey Coleman.
Yeah, I was with her yesterday. That's amazing.
Yeah, she's one of my faves. I've known her since she was the manager at GSA.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, no. Long story that I'll tell you someday. It's really funny. Very funny story. Anyway, so that's the thing. Can you speak to like a little bit more? Because again, it's really interesting to me on the sales, and it's not the matter of the size. I'm just kind of looking for I'm a very traditional CRM guy.
Yeah, of course.
What it is, Sales, marketing, customer service, the pillars. So the other two pillars, can you talk to them? Because
I can, and you likely know other executives that are with their company. John Ball is another one that's a legend in the CRM space, of course, and I've got a good amount of experience myself as well, and so we've we've kind of banded together. Obviously, we have an incredible customer service offering, which we are incredibly strong in, and we're very proud of that momentum. Also in field service, an incredibly strong offering. Sales and order management is something we've introduced the last couple of years and has been taking off in terms of popularity, and we're really thrilled with the growth. And then there are some really close ISVs that have built marketing automation on the platform. Tenon is another example that is an incredible success story and has won some incredible customers recently. So, as you know, the CRM landscape is broad and varied and has changed over the last 10, 15 years and broadened its horizons, just as we have to. And, one of the things that we really take a lot of interest and pride in is we've done so organically. We are the fastest company to $10 billion, purely organically or not purely organically. The growth story is incredible, but there's no duct tape or chewing gum with our platform. It's built on one core data model, one core infrastructure. And customers today with an agentic future and data and workflows, we see that being the new sort of must-have in terms of the future. And so you've heard our CEO talk about the hornet's nest of complexity. We've tried to look at it a different way, and you've seen our pace and agents and things like this and agentic AI, and this is why we're able to do it, because of the simplicity of our platform.
So you mentioned, I guess Paul talked about the kind of the change to talk about the customer workflows in the context of CRM. When you think about what's going on now with all the AI stuff and the agentic AI and kind of it feels like, CRM once again is evolving, and some might see it's transforming. And so why at this point in time, do you think it was important to really start framing things in the context of CRM versus the other the other verbiage that was floating out there for a while?
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to be the most approachable enterprise software company we possibly can. And, I mentioned speaking the language of the customer. If you interfaced with us, 6 months ago, you'd be greeted with hundreds of SKUs and lots of 4-letter acronyms. We sounded like Dr. Seuss and Ham and Sam and Pam and ITAM and all these things. They're wonderful products. Don't get me wrong. They're incredible. But we thought there was a better way of communicating it. And so we've simplified that to 6 core solutions, CRM being one of them. And I do think that this is really important. We show up where our customers are. To your point around all these categories changing, CRM absolutely being at the surface of it, the game has completely changed with agentic AI. And obviously the freshness of the data and agentic AI, you've got to be able to move rapidly. And to the point of your Stump the Godfather quote before, where I guess 50%, we already have customers autonomously making decisions with AI agents on our platform today. And so 4 years from now, seems at the pace we're going, seems like 50% is an understatement. But, I do think that the criticality of that is important, because CRM has changed, IT service has changed, all these categories will change in front of our eyes, and we need to be able to adapt with it. And we do think CRM will evolve to be more agentic in the near term.
So how are you? I mean, look, you have of course Now Assist, and you're taking one of the things you've done, I think, exceptionally well, aside from the actual product, which I think is exceptionally good, is that you partnered with companies to integrate the two. And to me, that we live in a world of platforms and ecosystems now. We don't live in a world of ops and pure ops and apps. Right, it's platforms and ecosystems, and what you build on them with the ops and apps. So what you've done really well is both, right? I remember in the earlier days of ServiceNow, when I first was kind of starting to work with them, partnerships were not a big deal at all. They really weren't. And again, it was ITSM focused still at that point. But now you've integrated Now Assist with Copilot. I mean, you've done a lot. Can you elaborate a little on that? I think it's like the perfect approach, because you understand the ecosystem as it actually is.
That platform of platforms messaging you mentioned earlier, I have a love-hate relationship with. I think it's fantastic. And it's exactly epitomizes kind of the company we were trying to show up as, which is, we don't need others to lose for us to win necessarily.
Right.
And I do think we can show up as the best partner to Microsoft and Oracle and Google Cloud and AWS and give customers choice. You saw that we've hired Amit Zaveri as our Chief Product Officer and COO. He's amazing, by the way. And he's brought a fresh perspective, even on the LLM front with Agentic, which is, we made our leadership in AI on domain-specific LLMs and things like this that we kind of have been championing for 5-6 years now. But the world has changed and LLM costs have decreased and the world has evolved and we've got DeepSeek and all these amazing things. And so now it's just about giving our customers choice. We're going to give our customers choice on if they want to use our domain-specific LLMs we've built with NVIDIA, or if you want to plug in OpenAI or any of these, we're open for it. And so I do think that openness gives our customers choice and opportunity to choose the path that they want to be. And, we want to be that control tower, if you will, for agentic AI and for data and things like this. But we know we don't have to own every square inch of it. And I do think that's a very different strategy than you see some of our peers doing. And we think it's a winning strategy, but of course, only time will tell.
Yeah, well, I would tend to agree with you. I will tell you one thing. By the way, to your love-hate relationship about platforms, I actually thought it was very wise to drop the messaging around it, but to continue to build it, which is actually what seems to have. I watched that very carefully, and I will tell you an interesting story. When it first came out as the messaging, I was on the analyst call. I think Brent and I were both on the analyst call, and there was a bunch of analysts I spoke to afterwards, like a dozen, and I kind of informally polled them. I said, "Do you think that they can pull it off?" And it was, of that dozen, 11 said yes.
Yeah.
And to say you're pulling off platforms is coming from an analyst who's going to be generally skeptical by nature.
Sure.
That's an astonishing leap of faith, I'll call it, that they actually believe you can. And I thought you could too. I was one of the positives, and I think Brent was too. And so, but it's not a good messaging thing.
I think the strategy is consistent with it, though, and we're always going to evolve our messaging. I'm very happy with where we are today as the AI platform for business transformation and putting AI to work for people. Like, very simple, very clean, very easy. But of course, each account and each customer will have a different narrative that we'll need to articulate too. And so that's our job as the company, right?
So talk a little bit about how the world changed last week because of, I think you mentioned it, DeepSeek. Everything seemed to it's just different. Now, you talk about the partnerships that you have, and I think that's one of the really strong suits that ServiceNow has. You're like one of the first in this industry to really partner up with NVIDIA and done what you've done. And of course, you talked about Microsoft. I have one that I kind of look at a lot, is what you're doing with Genesis. But when you look at the partnerships and you look at something like that seem to come out of the blue with DeepSeek, how do you work with your partners when things like that happen? And how do you kind of handle or manage that from a customer's perspective? Because I'm guessing customers have a lot of questions when stuff like that happens. How do you and your partners work with that?
I think it's one of the benefits of having such a strong partnership focus, which is, we're an open platform, and no matter what the world throws at us or what changes, we can evolve and we can move. And again, I go back to the reason why I joined the company. Of course, the leadership is amazing, but it is the cleanest single pane of glass platform I have ever seen. It is amazing. And our ability to move at rapid speed is a value for us. And if you see our growth, it's a direct result of that, and why customers and CIOs around the world have bet on us for that exact reason. But, I do think those of us that are in this industry, the DeepSeek thing was a big deal because it sort of shifted the focus maybe from hardware and from the core LLM strategies to more the applications layer. And all of us got a nice stock bump as a result of it. But we are absolutely in the first inning of this. Nobody knows what's going to happen next. And anybody tells you that they do is full of shit. And we can read the tea leaves. We know the direction. We have really smart people helping us with our strategy. But, this idea of agentic AI has happened in the last 8 months. And it's been incredible to see. But the pace in which we've been able to react to it is a great example of what happens when you have a clean platform. DeepSeek is going to be a remnant of the past in just a couple of weeks when the next thing comes out, right? But it's pretty clear that the winds are shifting aggressively. And we believe that you need a platform to kind of shift with the direction of the winds, if that makes sense. And that's where we're focused.
So let me throw something into that that's a little outlier, but actually has some really interesting potential consequences. So if you remember during CES, NVIDIA announced basically a $3,000 AI consumer machine, which is, let's face it, if they actually pull that off and produce it, is going to change a lot of things. Just by the nature that all of a sudden AI becomes affordable to a lot of people who might not even be using it in the enterprise, but it will also impact cost, and it'll impact production, and impact large language models versus other language models, wide, small, whatever, narrow. How do you see that? Because to me, it was sort of like it was there, but it was, sort of announced the same way ASUS announced their 2025 laptops, so with a slightly bigger press, so how do you see that in terms of impacting in the world that you're living in and the B2B are living in?
Well, I think obviously it's an area we're watching closely, and Jensen, our headquarters is right next to NVIDIA, so we get a front row seat to a lot of the innovation that they put together, and we've a very strong partnership with them. And it's been incredible to see the technology they've been able to put forth, and literally the things we're talking about now weren't fathomable a year ago, which is pretty cool. And in fact, there's one story with DeepSeek is the iPhone. Apple has done an incredible job as you think about on-device generative AI and on-device agentic AI, then you're talking about a whole nother ballgame. And so when DeepSeek went wild last week, 2 weeks ago, Apple got a nice bump too, because you start to see it's moved. The strategy is shifting towards more the application and the user interface level, away from the deep underlying technology perspective, which might be, and I don't mean to say this with any level of confidence, but you could see that becoming a commodity, much like compute has with the hyperscalers and whatnot. So fascinating to see. Again, I'm not going to try to bullshit my way through this, but I'm watching it at the same time that all of you all are. But I do think that you're always going to look at who are the companies that can react quickly to that. Apple's one of them. Of course, NVIDIA is another, as you're seeing. I believe ServiceNow to be one of them as well. And one of the values of the platform is just us able to move quickly.
Well, I mean, basically one of the things that you guys have done so well, and this is something I've been associated one way or the other with the company as far as either as an analyst watching or as an advisor since the day CSM came into existence, is you've made, and this is not exactly the right word, but you'll understand what I mean. You've made enterprise tech and complex enterprise tech consumable, right? And that's actually something that's insanely hard to do. Yeah. In fact, what's 90% of the failures are due to the fact that it isn't consumable, right? It's like, okay, you got to put all this work, all this effort, and you have you can put a lot of work and effort into what you have, but the users can use it, and they don't have issue with it. I've talked to a number of users, and one thing that was pointed out to me, which I was kind of impressed with, was and this came when you announced the Now Assist Copilot integration, was how well that actually worked. I mean, it wasn't like, because a lot of the integrations are, okay, it's here, and it's basically the equivalent of what they used to call it when you would, window, there was an iframe. It was right. Basically, it would just be a couple of iframes, and they would be side by side. Yours is like this remarkably seamless integration deep down, but also on the front end, right? Yeah. So that's the part that I heard real positives about.
Well, we're hearing the same from our customers, and I go back to the speed in which that it was able to happen, which is really the best part about it. And it goes back to the partnerships that we had that Brent mentioned earlier too. If you think about, we have partnerships with the companies that are leading the industry in a lot of these areas, and we can bring those products to market within the user interface of ServiceNow or in their user interfaces very quickly with the platform. So you talked about like being consumable and approachable. We've talked about this in me being on the show for several years now, and just taking technology that is relatively complex and finding ways to simplify it and making it usable. We talked about this with Salesforce Plus at another company and whatnot. And the same story is applicable here, which is taking cutting edge technology and putting it in the hands of many people in the easiest way possible. I think that's an underspoken argument we can make here.
Well, go ahead, Brent.
No, I'm gonna go on a different tangent. So if you wanted to follow up, go ahead.
No, I was too. So you go ahead.
Okay, we're all about tangents here, Colin. Maybe that was about a month ago. I had an opportunity to speak with Kelly Romack.
Yeah,
and I actually knew her previous to her, sort of like you. I knew you previous to what you're doing now. I knew her previous, like a couple of stops ago. But she said you and her are like thick as thieves.
Yeah, she's amazing.
And she was like, "Yeah, you get us together and you see what happens." Okay, I was like, well, maybe Knowlege 25 is something that might be able to
90
happen.
days away. I hope that you both will be there.
Tell us a little bit. Give us a little a sneak peek into what's going to happen. What are we going to be talking about?
Well, I can't give you too much. But we just made some really big announcements this past week on January 29th. Around our AI agents and agentic AI portfolio. And you'll see us focusing more on that control tower idea. We believe that, ServiceNow will be a great provider of incredible agentic AI and AI agents in your business, but we know we're not alone in this. We believe the industry needs a control tower idea or an orchestrator of these agents. So again, using the platform to its strengths, I think that's a really interesting angle. And we've got some surprises up our sleeves for sure, but maybe call the 29th of January. If you haven't seen, we just made a little 10-minute broadcast to articulate it. Call that an amuse-bouche for Knowlege, if you will. So we got more up our sleeves.
Okay. So I was going to go in tangent also. So here's this one. So I know, look, you've been working with now David Wright. You work with Brian Solis now. I presume you've had time to do that. And, we know Brian, 10, 15, I think I've known him close to 18 years, maybe.
Yeah, well,
long time. Yeah. And look, let me put it this way. The guy's a rock star. And David is also a rock star. So how is it when you work, but you're also CMO and you're working with a team that's job one way or the other is innovation, which means it's, the futures think team. And yet at the same time, it's part of the overall culture of the company. So how do you even think about that as CMO, what you would do with it?
With the power of Dave and Brian and the futures team?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, first off, we work very closely together on, understanding where AI agents is going to go. And, Dave's got the futurist kind of mentality, if you will. And he's fantastic in helping us understand what are the scenarios it could go, what are the directions that it could go. And we sort of play like the more likely scenario game. And you'll see a lot of our core positioning, that control tower idea with some of our product leaders and Dave Wright, just really canvassing the landscape and saying, okay, where is this likely to go? And what is our unique brand permission to play in this space? And that's maybe what I've tried to bring to the conversation. The company's always been really thoughtful about bringing the right technology to market. But like with the CRM conversation earlier, maybe I can help bring a perspective of what do we have brand permission to do and what do we not have to do. And I felt like, and I still feel today, Paul's going to come after me for it, that we're a player in CRM, a small one. We're emerging, but our growth rates are, double that of our competitors, where it's our largest, fastest growing product. And so it's just one small example of really looking at the future. And my job, according to what Bill and team have asked of me, is to prepare the organization to be a $20+ billion company. And that's the small stuff of, all the little behind the scenes things that we never talk about on these shows, but also the big stuff and brand and thinking about brand permission and the categories in which we compete and whatnot. And, that's really where the fun stuff happens.
Well, the other thing with you though, is you're a super creative person. You really are. It's like just that ad alone, it's still, it's a technology ad for a use case. But at the same time, you kind of make it like funny, right? Enjoyable.
In all honesty, I think, in order to get to that $20 billion mark, you got to drop some F-bombs, man. I think you're right on point.
There's plenty that happen.
I know a person you can hire and you'll be at the $20 billion mark in 2 days.
I heard Bob Stutz' his name in here.
At the end of the day, I think that could happen.
No, I'm actually thinking somebody who drops way more than he
does.
does.
No, not that guy.
I'm not mentioning your name.
No, not that guy. We'll leave that nameless.
We don't care for that person too much.
Right.
But I'll put it this way. If F-bombs was basically getting to 20 billion and you hired him at 5, you'd be done by 7. Right.
Look, the F-bomb is not the point, guys.
I know.
The point is 75% of the GDP is driven by B2B companies. for some reason, marketers have decided that B2B companies can operate at a lower bar for quality or personality or things like this. And I've spent my career calling bullshit on that. That I believe that B2B companies can be as creative, as provocative, as clean, as simple as any B2C company. And so, we've talked about this a lot on the show, but that's my vision. And if we need to drop an F-bomb to do it, we're going to absolutely do it. But, it's just a myriad example. There's more examples of that, just trying to humanize the story, because ultimately what we're talking about is saving people time, giving people, hours in their day back, and really helping companies grow. And that's what's really important.
All right. So I think I have to ask, we do have at least one. We know your team already, so we don't have to worry about that anymore. But so Sunday, who?
Well, I was going to ask Brett the same question because I know the Rams clearly didn't do the job. So are you going to stay with the NFC?
I thought
we
were
going to go NFC? What's your...
No, I hate the Eagles, man. I grew up in Wilmington, Delaware, 30 minutes south of. I really don't hate the Eagles team. I hate the fans. All right, I'm brutally honest. Those fans are brutal. But I'm really not all. I'm kind of sick and tired of seeing the Chiefs. So quite honestly, I'm shrugging.
I'm just going to go with my wife's answer, which is I hope they both have fun and we get to watch some great ads. So we'll go with that.
That shows how kind your wife is. My answer is I hope they both lose.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this, but as a lifelong Charger fan, the Chiefs are the enemy, so I definitely can't root for them.
Yeah,
I'm a Giants fan, so the Eagles are the enemy, but I love Saquon Barkley. I love it.
So seems like you have made up your mind then, Paul. Look, it's going to be a fun game. I'm excited to see what happens. I'm excited. Some of the ads are fantastic. Hopefully you saw the Uber Eats one with McConaughey, who I did spend.
Oh, they're doing some those ads.
They're doing some fantastic work. I'm pissed that they did better spots than I did with McConaughey.
Well, look, you gotta. I'll put it this way: no disrespect intended to Matthew McConaughey. I love Idris Elba. So
yeah. Oh, I'm not complaining. I love
you went that one hands down, dude. Hands down.
By the way, you should acknowledge, Idris is, I think his DJ name is Big Driz. Correct. You should have him like DJ in a party or something.
You should be in marketing. You know what? Think like I do. We'll see. I
might come out of retirement for that.
All right, man. We're a little over time, but we're really excited to have you. And thanks again for making time for us. And
you bet. Hope to see you on May the 6th, and everybody on the call here. In personal invitation for me to be at Knowlege. Let's see you. Let's go.
All
right, man.
Big hug, man.
Take care, man.
See you guys.
See you guys. Well, see you. All right. All right. By the way, Colin, you're in the green room. If you could hang out at least until that recording completes, that would be great, because we're getting your local recording so we can, clip this up and do all that kind of stuff. But anyway, that was great.
Oh, he always is great. I just love him, man. I just love him. I just every time I'm done with the show that he's on, or I just see him, he just makes me happy. I guess the only way to put it. Because you know what it is? Because the world of business, and again, I'm not a business person, but the world of business is in great hands.
You know
and
what?
So is the world in general, actually, when you have people like him around.
The world of business needs some more F-bombs dropped. I'm just saying, like in a tasteful way.
Well, that's what they did with the ad. It was perfect.
It was very tasteful. Yes.
It was awesome. No, actually, I hadn't seen that until you showed it, and I just thought it was great.
Nah, I mean, I think they're on a roll. I mean, there's no other way.
It's been years. Well, it's funny once they decided. I think that. Okay, maybe our cash cow right now is ITSM, but our actual future lies with then still CSM. It's when they started that role, man. Yeah, and they never have been off that role. And the other thing goes to both Colin and Colin's point is they're hiring a lot of good people from a lot of companies who have already been really, really successful over a somewhat longer period of time, meaning they started earlier or they got into the CRM world earlier. What was your friend Kelly Romack?
Romack, yeah.
Kelly, Colin himself, people like that who know what to do. And I when he was when we accidentally saw his name as CMO, I thought, man, that is such a good choice, though. It was such a. I mean, ServiceNow doesn't know how good they got it. I mean, maybe they do now. All right, JR, I'll see you next week for lunch. I'll send you a note. So he's just a star.
By the way, you know it's a good show when you got Jesus and Cynthia Hoyos commenting. It's like, you know, that's a first, man. That's good stuff. Yeah, and we liked her too. I'm you know, if we are going, that would be cool. I'd love to get see all those folks face to face.
Well,
man.
again, hey, ServiceNow, I hate to put in a plug, but if you want me to be there, you're gonna have to hire me and Brent to do something. I'm not coming, otherwise I'll watch it virtually. I promise you. Though. I will watch it virtually.
A couple of last comments. Yeah, thanks, Ben. It was Colin is always a good guest.
He's again. We'll have him on again as regularly as they let us have him.
What do we have brand permission to do?
I think he meant love that.
Yeah, I think yeah. Well, you can live that too.
But what brand are you giving? What brand permission are you getting?
I don't know. I particularly love Colin's comment that we don't need others to lose to win. Yeah, that's actually a really good. You don't hear that a lot from software execs.
It's interesting. Years ago, they had no industry focus. They had no partnership focus, and now they have a massive industry focus and a massive partnership focus, and they're just doing. You know what it is? Once they make the interesting thing with them is sometimes it takes them a while to come to a conclusion that, say, other companies might have come to at a different level. But once they do, they just skyrocket, and they do it just. It's remember what was it? Microsoft's whole thing on second mover.
Oh right? yeah. They had no problem with it.
No, it made them into what they are.
Right. Yeah.
I think ServiceNow, I'm not sure they follow that exactly, but I think they learn from the lessons, the bad ones. They learn which ones to avoid of others and the mistakes others make, and they learn from the lessons that others provide that are good. And then they go with their own, approach to the whole thing, given all that they've learned. And I'll say this, they rarely mess up.
Yeah.
They almost always do the right thing. Almost. No one's perfect.
Maybe they should get Spike Lee as an ambassador too.
Oh man.
Do the right thing.
And the Knicks would become their sponsoring team.
Yeah, there it is.
That would be so good. They could be a sponsor of the Knicks.
All right. So this was a great show. But guess what? I'm going back to a comment that Alan made, because Alan might be prescient here, because next week our guest is the one and only Heather Willems.
So we are including her on a show before the conference.
Yeah, like way before the conference.
Yeah, way before the conference.
Yeah. So anybody who saw any of the event a couple of weeks ago, during the general sessions, as people were speaking and presenting and showing slides, there was this young woman off to the side, just in real time, visualizing all the stuff that people were saying. That was Heather Willems. And she just didn't, I don't know how she does that stuff, man. It's like she's doing it in real time, and it looks really good. And it really is a visual image of what people are saying. And she did that like the whole day. So we're going to have her on to talk about that. How did she get that skill? How do you know you have that kind of skill, man? I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, she's been. We met her at Ray Wang's CCE. I guess she said it was 15 years ago, because I was at the first one. I know that. So that would be 15, and that was about 15 years ago. So I met her then, and then Brent met her subsequently, and she is a remarkable person, because think about how quickly your mind has to process something to then present it in just about the time it was said. Looking forward to it, Phil. Just about the time that it was said. I mean, that's astonishing. How your brain must work.
You know what? I'm sitting on I consider an extremely great question. It's for her. I wanted to ask it during the event. I didn't get a chance to. So I'm just sitting on it. I can't wait. It's going to be a good one. I hope.
Okay. I'm in.
But in the meantime,
I'm waiting for her.
So do you have a prediction for Sunday?
No, I don't. I don't care about the game. I mean, it's like I predicted me and the friends who were coming over are going to have a good time. That's it.
Yeah.
I watched the game. I do remember this, and as much as I hate the Eagles, I'll give them credit for this one. The Super Bowl of a couple of years ago, was it 3 years now or 2?
Which one?
The
Against
last one against
the Chiefs? It was like 2 years ago.
Yeah, that was a good game.
It was.
It was a really good game, and Eagles lost, but it was genuinely a good game of football, right? And I rarely will give the Eagles credit for anything,
right?
But that game was worth watching. It was just.
I think I've only rooted wholeheartedly for the Eagles once in my lifetime.
What was that?
When they played the Patriots in the Super Bowl.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, it was more like my hate for the Patriots drove me to root for the Eagles.
Yeah, see, the Saquon Barkley thing might make me root. I just, you know what it is? I guess the thing I'm the most tired of isn't just the Chiefs, because it's not really fair to be tired of them. They've earned what they've done.
Taylor Swift?
But no, I don't mind Taylor Swift at all. That's just, entertainment world. But seeing Patrick Mahomes in 20 million commercials. I mean, how much money do you actually need? Really? I mean, you don't need to, bend to a brand who's going to pay you a fortune when you already have a fortune, right? And you don't need to do that even when you don't have a fortune. So I just too much of that. I like the guy. I don't dislike him. I just can't take seeing him anymore.
Well, and the other half of those commercials is either Jason or Travis Kelce.
Again, these guys who don't need any money whatsoever for the next 5 lives, actually for the next 25 lives, and yet they're out there. Look, I get it if you're a WNBA player because you're not paid much, and being a brand ambassador gets you paid a lot more, and I get it. I do totally get that one. I don't get it when you have more than enough for your family and the next 200 generations. I don't get it.
Well, you know what I get?
Yes, I love Minnie. See that? Now I'm calm again.
And now we can end the show on a calm
note. We can. So who are you now?
Brent Leary.
And I'm Paul Greenberg.
And we are ready to get past this Super Bowl. Amen. And on to Heather Willems next Thursday. Have a good one.